Welcome back, everyone, to College Football Country. More with Ronnie Dunn, who's hanging out with us in our CFC studios this week in just a bit. But we are spotlighting one of our schools now. Old Dominion University is a football program that, at least a handful of years ago, didn't exist, and now they're getting ready to embark into their first year in conference play. And joining us now is the head coach of Old Dominion University, Bobby Wilder. And, Coach, before we get started talking about the team of today, give folks a perspective on how it is to evolve a team from nothing to getting onto the field.
It's been an amazing process through the start of this, Jason. And I was hired on February 9th, 2007, and for the time I was hired, unbelievable support from Old Dominion and the community. There was a stadium in place that had been built back in the early 1930s. Now, Old Dominion hadn't had a football team in 69 years, but the stadium had been upkept. Their field hockey team played there, so we had a 20,000-seat stadium in place. And from the time I arrived, we put plans together to build a $17 million practice facility that, through my experience of having coached in 1AA football for 17 years, is one of the finest in the country. So everything that was done was first class, Jason, and it's just been a process of hiring coaches, recruiting players, building the program, implementing our Aim High philosophy within our program, and I'm proud to say we've been the most successful startup program in the history of college football.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys have enjoyed some very, very good success so far with it, but on a coach's perspective, it's not like you moved into another job and took over a team that already had players there and everything else. How much more difficult is it as a coach to go from scratch? I mean, you're putting together a whole coaching staff, putting together a team and everything with nothing there to start with.
Well, Jason, I can honestly tell you at 46 years of age, this is my last startup program ever. It has been a fulfilling experience. It's been a rewarding experience. I mean, how many times in your life, Jason, do you get to say you've built something from the ground up, whether you're we've got folks in your listening audience that maybe have started their own business and done something from the ground up, and it's really almost like it's like building a house. You've got to plan for and do everything, and that's what we did from when I first got here, and it was getting pens and notepads and then trying to find an office and working space. It's everything had to be done from the start, and if you have a university like Old Dominion University that planned for it, there was an outstanding plan in place, Jason, from salaries for the staff to facilities to a timeline. It was an incredible amount of work, but it just a phenomenal experience. It's something I'm so proud that I was able to be part of, and we had a plan for everything, and that plan has worked to this point.
It looks like, in judging by your attendance, you have every game that's sold out last year at home, so it looks like the community and the ODU alumni have really gotten behind it, too.
They have, Jason. What was interesting, when I was first hired, they had done a study. Old Dominion did so much preparation. One of the studies they did was they hired Price Waterhouse to come in and interview folks in the community, alumni, the fan base, and how many season tickets could we sell, and that number was 6,500. Well, I took that as a personal challenge to get out there. In the first year alone, Jason, I did over 300 speaking engagements.
Wow.
And we took that number from 6,500 to the point where we had to cap it because we needed student tickets, we needed visiting tickets. We had to save 5,500 tickets for other people involved. And now we're at the point, Jason, after 2 years of playing, where we have a waiting list of 3,000 people for season tickets. So we're already talking about stadium expansion. It's truly a remarkable story.
Football is a big sport for any university. It's one that kind of draws a lot of recognition to the university, but not only you guys and the success you've had football-wise, basketball as well. So it seems like ODU athletically is becoming a more and more of a powerhouse year in and year out.
Yeah, it really is, Jason. I'm glad you mentioned the other sports, because when I was hired here, the one thing that really impressed me, Jason, is there's a confidence level amongst the student athletes here. When I arrived, graduated over 92% of the student athletes and won over 60% of all their sporting events. So there's a mindset here that you're supposed to do well academically, you're supposed to be involved in community service, and you're supposed to win on the field. And then they provide for the teams to be successful. We've got some of the finest facilities in the country for all sports. Our men's basketball has an 8,000-seat arena that they sell out. They lead the CAA in attendance. We're fourth in the nation out of 125 teams in football attendance. And the only reason, Jason, we're fourth is our stadium isn't big enough. So you've got the support in the area for the sports, and that's why we're really starting to gain some tremendous national recognition for our school through our sports programs.
We're hanging out this morning here on College Football Country with the head coach of the Old Dominion University Monarchs, Bobby Wilder. We got more with him in just a few, but right now, matter of fact, this song might be appropriate because so one thing about ODU, they are knee-deep in it right now in the fact of getting ready to kick off the 2011 season. We'll talk about the Monarchs schedule coming up with Coach Wilder here in just a few, but here it is, Zach Brown Band with Knee Deep here on College Football Country.
Gonna put the world away for a minute, pretend I don't live in it. Sunshine gonna wash my blues away. Had sweet love, but I lost it. She got too close, so I fought it. Now I'm lost in the world, trying to find me a better way. Wishing I was knee deep in the water somewhere. Got the blue sky breeze and it don't seem fair. Only worry in the world is the tide gonna reach my chair. Sunrise, there's a fire in the sky. Never been so happy, never felt so high. And I think I might have found me my own kind of paradise.
Wrote a note, said be back in a minute. Bought a boat and I sailed off in it. Don't think anybody's gonna miss me anyway. Mind on a permanent vacation. The ocean is my only medication. Wishing my condition ain't ever gonna go away.
Cause now I'm knee deep in the water somewhere. Got the blue sky breeze blowing wind through my hair. Only worry in the world is the tide gonna reach my chair. Sunrise, there's a fire in the sky. Never been so happy, never felt so high. And I think I might have found me my own kind of paradise. This champagne shore washing over me.
It's a sweet, sweet life, living by the salty sea.
One day you could be as lost as me.
Change your geography, maybe you might be.
Knee deep in the water somewhere. Got the blue sky breeze blowing wind through my hair. Only worry in the world is the tide gonna reach my chair. Sunrise, there's a fire in the sky. Never been so happy, never felt so high. And I think I might have found me my own kind of paradise. Come on in, the water's nice. Find yourself a little slice. Grab a backpack and lunch. You never know until you try. When you lose yourself,
You find the key to paradise.
Zach Brown Band with Knee Deep right here on College Football Country. We're hanging out with the head coach of the Old Dominion University Monarchs, Bobby Wilder. And, Coach, I was making a line there going into it that seemed like you guys are knee deep in it right now. You just wrapped up spring drills, and now it's, even though it might be a time to relax a little bit to get ready, you guys certainly are still working on full stride here.
We are. We just wrapped up our spring practice at the end of April. Our coaches have been out this entire month recruiting. We've got 70 of our student-athletes that they took a break from when their finals ended on May 6th, and then they started back in their summer session courses May 16th. So we've got 70 student-athletes that are on campus right now working on their schoolwork and then also training for this season. So it's really an exciting time for us, Jason.
8-3 last year. Matter of fact, when you look at the 3 losses, you guys were close to being undefeated last year. But this year, 2011, it's another new milestone for you guys. You're going into CAA, the Colonial Athletic Association, so you're going into conference play, and you guys like challenges because you're going into a very tough conference.
Yeah, we sure are, and I'm really excited about that, Jason. I played and coached in the CAA for 22 years. I was a player for 5 years at Maine and had a 17-year coaching career there, and there's a saying amongst the head coaches in the league that it's a field goal league, meaning the number 1 team in the conference could play the number 11 teams in the standing, and that game could be decided by a field goal either way. It's a very competitive league. It's considered to be the top 1AA conference in the country. As a matter of fact, Jason, last year in the Gridiron Power Index that rates conferences, the CAA was ranked ahead of 2 1A conferences in the MAC and the Sun Belt, which really speaks to the strength of the league. 7 of the last 8 teams in the national championship have come from the CAA, and you've got Villanova won it in 2009. We played Villanova this year. Richmond won the championship in 2008. We play them this year. You've got James Madison that won the championship in 2004, and Delaware won it in 2003. So you've got national champions that are out of this league, and we've got 4 of them on our schedule this upcoming season, so it's definitely going to be a challenge.
Well, I'm a guy that played college ball to the 1AA level at Marshall and did their broadcasting for him for a while after that. And
you played on some good teams there. I've done my homework on you.
Oh, thank you very much. But I know how tough this conference is, and I know how tough these teams that you play are, so I know week in and week out it's going to be a challenge for you guys.
Oh, no question, and it's right from the start. Our first CAA game, which is our 4th game of the season, we travel up to Delaware. You talk about a challenge, your first CAA game in the history of your program, and we're going to Delaware, which seats 22,000. The place will be sold out, and it'll really be an exciting time for our team. But we'll learn a lot about ourselves, Jason, where we are as a program. We've played a startup schedule the last 2 years with teams that I felt we could be competitive against, we could grow as a program, and really we've been preparing for that date, September 24th, really since our players reported on August 13, 2008, and we had a year of practice. We've been preparing for 3 years for this game against Delaware and the 7 league games that will follow.
Plus, you guys open up on the 3rd against Campbell at Georgia State and then back home again against Hampton. And, Coach, it certainly is it's fun to watch you guys and certainly watch the progression. I love seeing how teams kind of go from that startup to where they are now because, you know, those books that are out there that are football for idiots or basketball for idiots, you know, those big, thick yellow books. I think you guys could probably produce one that says how to build a program.
I've been studying a lot of those books.
Hey, Coach, best of luck with things. We'll look forward to keeping up with you throughout the season, and thanks for the time here this morning and jumping on with us.
Oh, you're welcome, Jason. Anytime. Thanks for having me.
That's the head coach of the Old Dominion University Monarchs, Bobby Wilder, joining us here on CFC. We've got a lot more coming up, including more with our in-studio guest host, Ronnie Dunn. It's next here on College Football Country.